I'm going to make something, and while I do it, I'm going to listen to the Crafted podcast. So there's this material called micarta, and what it is epoxy and cloth layered together and squeezed until it dries, and it becomes a really hard material that people make knife handles out of. I'm pretty sure it was John Heisz who made some micarta that had a really cool pattern. He used several colors of cloth and made a wavy mold for it. And I'm going to do the same thing and show you the way I do it. I'll make sure to leave a link to John's video in the description, and let's make some micarta. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cutting a wavy line along here on the bandsaw. Okay, so I just got some scraps of 1/4 inch plywood, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a wall around the edge. And since I'm going to be cutting into it later, I'm just going to glue it together. It doesn't need to be very precise. I just want something to keep the epoxy from flowing out onto the bench when we glue it up. See, what we'll do is we'll put epoxy and layers of cloth into there, and then put this in and clamp it all together. While that's drying, we can cut up the layers of cloth that are going to go inside. And this stuff here is white linen. I've got this red stuff, and I've got this blue stuff. So now I'm just going to cut a bunch of rectangles. So let's see what we end up with. I want to have this red, white, and blue thing going. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. It's about 1.5 inches thick stack of material, and it's going to be pressed in between the two wooden forms with epoxy in there and then left to dry. And then we're going to lose a lot of it when we cut it out of the form, because the form is going to have to be cut away. But this should be enough for a decent knife handle. So we'll mix up some epoxy, clamp all that together, and see what we get. Okay, so the box is set up, and I've got a 2-part epoxy here. This is actually for putting a gloss coat on tabletops, but it should work just fine. It was cheap, 20 bucks for a quart. So what we got to do is mix it up and then lay in the cloth one at a time into the mold. Now this stuff is a real mess, so you want to make sure to wear rubber gloves and lay down something that you're going to spill on, because it's definitely going to spill, or at least you should assume that it is definitely going to spill. And you can see what's going on in there. Now there's a lot of epoxy in between those layers, and when we squeeze it, it's going to work its way out and through all the fibers. Or at least that's my hope. Okay, now I know there's more than enough glue in there to hold all this together. So I'm going to just lay the rest in and clamp it and hope for the best. So there we go. Now get some C-clamps and clamp it all together. You can see the epoxy is pressing its way out. I'm just hoping it presses its way through all the fiber that I put in there that didn't have any epoxy on it. You can tell by looking at this, once we cut it, we're probably only going to get a 3/8 inch thick piece of micarta. On the bright side, it should be wide enough that I could get 2 handle halves out of it. Okay, here we are the next day. Yeah, so there it is. The epoxy's all cured. One thing I notice is it's compressed more on this side than it is on this side. But let's take it to the bandsaw, see what it looks like when we cut it out of the mold. Okay, so there's our micarta. Now there's a little bit of wood here still, but when I shape it into a knife handle, this is enough for a knife handle. Here, I'm going to spray this with some Varathane just to see what it's going to look like. Once I get it shaped, I'm actually going to recoat it with the same epoxy stuff that is in it. So there's micarta. It's the first time I've tried to make it. It's going to end up looking pretty good. It's going to go on the first knife of Damascus steel that I ever made, and that knife is part of the Forge series you'll see in a couple of weeks. I'm going to apply some more epoxy after it's installed on the knife, and then it should rub out to a nice shiny finish, and then we'll be on to the next project. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click up here to see my last video. Click over there to see something of mine that YouTube thinks you'll like. And have a good one.